Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to week 6 of English 101. Congratulations on submitting your first major essay. Project 1 is in the books. I've taken a quick glance through the submissions and am very impressed with a lot of the work you guys have been doing. I'm going to be reading through those essays this week, and over the weekend I'm hoping to have feedback for you on those by next Monday. Typically it takes me between 7 to 10 business days to get essays back. My goal is Monday, but it could be as late as Wednesday next week. So that's how all that's going to come together. When you get feedback on your essays, you're going to get it in 3 places. So you'll get a graded rubric, and in each of the rubric categories, there'll be a note that says how points were earned or lost in that category. There's also going to be a gradebook comment that has kind of my big picture suggestions for the essay, and then there's going to be embedded feedback, and that's going to be the stuff within the essay draft itself, denoted by little blue bubbles that if you click on the blue bubble, it will open a dialog box and you'll see my comments there. So you'll have 3 different ways you're getting feedback from me for your essay. Hopefully that gives you a really good picture of your writing and your strengths and different ways we can improve to make our less strong elements better. So as you get that feedback, I want you to keep in mind the way that you received feedback from peer review. A lot of comments from me is not a bad thing. Like, it's not me being critical. It's not me trying to hurt your feelings or discourage you in any way. When you see comments from me, it's coming from a place of, you're doing great work. I want to help you get to that next level to make your work that's already good even better. That's why I give so much feedback. It would be so much easier for me to just put a number in there and be like, oh, this is a C paper. That would be easier. But because I want you to become a better writer, you're going to get a lot of feedback. And that feedback is my best attempt to help you reach the next level in your writing. So I hope you take it in the spirit in which it's offered, which is from a place of, let me help you get to that next step. And so that's the feedback you guys are going to be getting probably on Monday, but no later than next Wednesday on your Project 1 essay drafts. Whew, all right, well, give yourself a little pat on the back. You got 1 project done, just 2 more to go. So that's not so bad. This next project we're working on is going to build on our theme of true crime and is going to take it in a little different direction. So we are going to be working with this concept of trial by media for project 2. And trial by media is a newer thing, mostly, that came about with the advent of mass communication, particularly social media type communication. Our essay in project 2 is going to ask us to look at the 6th Amendment, which gives us the right to an unbiased, impartial jury. And we're going to look at a list of specific cases in which maybe the 6th Amendment was violated in some way because potentially the jury was not unbiased, right? Because of different elements, potentially because of social media and the way we talk about things all the time. How do you get an unbiased jury member for a case that is crazy and everybody knows everything about? For example, the Gabby Petito case. If you haven't been following that, she was a missing person. She'd been on a van camping trip with her boyfriend, long-term boyfriend, fiance, I think. And then she went missing. She was later found murdered, deceased by, they said, cause of death was homicide. And then her boyfriend went back home and was missing, and now they found his remains, and they're trying to figure out what's happening. But that case reached national coverage. Like, everyone was talking about it. So if the boyfriend, Brian Landry, hadn't probably committed suicide, hadn't killed himself, and if he had gone to trial, it would have been a very difficult thing to get an unbiased jury because everybody had been following this story on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. Everybody was talking about this, right? So it'd be really hard to get an unbiased jury. And so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about in Project 2. How do you get an unbiased jury? How is justice, an idea that we dealt with in Project 1? How is justice carried out these days? How do you get an unbiased jury in this time of a 24-hour news cycle and social media and all these other things that provide information, and sometimes potentially wrong information? So that's what Project 2 is going to be all about. So we've got an excellent article to read and some discussion questions to answer today. You've got a framed justice, which is a fun title, recorded lecture in the modules tab. You're going to be watching a video where I talk about the prompt and the case list on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, you're going to be telling me what 2 cases you're interested in maybe researching further. And you will pick a case from our list. If you have another really good case in mind, you can email me and ask me if it's all right to use it, but otherwise just use from our case list here. And then you're going to be working on thesis statements and outlines over the weekend. So this project is a much faster timeline than Project 1. And we talked about this a little bit last week in our video. Project 1 wanted to emphasize the process approach to writing. We take it, we break it down into smaller stages, and we give ourselves a lot of time to deal with the original source text material. We give ourselves a lot of time to think about how we're going to compose our argument and delve into the ideas and get alternative perspectives. That's the process approach to writing. Several drafts, several stages from thesis statement, outline, draft 1, draft 2. All of this is part of the process approach to writing. However, we don't always get that much time to write our essays. And so Project 2 is more reflective of a more realistic timeline that you'll probably see in different academic settings. Like I shared last week, I was a Running Start student at CBC several years ago. And one of the hardest classes I took in my entire college career, and I have a master's degree, was a history class I took at CBC. And as a Running Start student, I took it. And I remember it being just like a bucket of cold water coming from high school into this college class. And we had to write a 3 to 5 page essay every Friday about a historical event in this history class. And it was a lot of work. And it was a lot of writing in a very short amount of time. And so that was kind of the trial by fire of my academic career. Like, can I do this? Can I step up and meet this requirement that I have to meet in order to pass this class? And so in that class, we didn't have 4 weeks to write an essay as I gave us in this class. So our next essay, Project 2 essay, is a much faster turnaround. This is about a little over 2 weeks on our turnaround here, which is more reflective of probably what you're going to get in other classes. So it's good practice to prepare you for other writing environments. So my best tip for success when you're writing in this faster pace is to really look at how long it takes you to write an essay, and you should know that because we just wrote one, and then plan accordingly. If it takes a couple days, plan that you're going to work on the first 2 paragraphs next Monday, and then the middle 2 paragraphs on Tuesday, and 2 more paragraphs on Wednesday. Break it up how you need to in order to be successful. Make sure you're giving yourself the time you need to compose a really well articulated argument with good critical thinking and good source usage. Those are such important things in writing, especially in academic writing like this. So I want to go into our class real quick so that I can show you in the modules tab where everything is located. I do like to keep these videos short if I can, so I will try and stop talking very soon. Project 1's all done. We can minimize that folder. Congratulations, you guys are awesome. You did it. Woohoo! All right, so here is the framed justice PowerPoint. If you want to be able to look at just the slides, here's the PowerPoint. The recorded lecture is right here. I promise it's not too long. It's less than 15 minutes. So it's really, really worth listening to because it's going to give you a really good overall global picture of what we're trying to accomplish in this essay. Here is our topic list, so you can take a look at the cases. And then here is logical fallacies, which is something we're going to be talking about next week if you want to get a head start, though. Logical fallacies are when we talk about something, but we do so just slightly incorrectly. There is a fault to our logic that can then invalidate our argument. We've got supporting materials. Once again, here's that article you're going to be reading today and responding to in the discussion board. And then here are some additional articles that you can use as sources in your Project 2 essay if you wish, just to give you some additional perspectives. And I'll talk more about these next week. And then here's all the stuff you're going to need for the essay. Here's the outline and the thesis worksheet. It talks a little bit about research and how to find sources for this particular essay. It'll walk you through some of the library options as well, so you can use those databases to find sources on your chosen case. Here's the prompt and the outline and the worksheet, and then my grading rubric, because it's good to know how things are going to be graded. As I'm looking through your Project 1 essays, I noticed that we get a little repetitive on how we introduce quotes. And so here's a link to some examples of different ways to use quotes in your essay so that you don't get stuck saying the same phrase over and over, like Leon Seltzer in his article says blah, blah, blah. Seltzer says blah, blah, blah. Seltzer states blah, blah, blah. This will give you lots of different examples for signal phrases so you don't get that kind of repetitive thing going on. And then because this essay is on such a faster pace, I do like to give some samples. So here are 3 sample essays for you so you can see how other people do this project fairly successfully. These are mostly low A, high B essays. They have some room for improvement, but they're doing a lot of things really well. So take a look at those and see how they might inspire your own writing. And then if you need a little bit of humor, you can see why it's important to spell check and proofread carefully, because there are some really interesting errors other people make. So that's what we've got this week. Fun stuff as we take a look at our Project 2 assignment. So this week you're going to be doing that discussion board. You are going to be watching some recorded lectures that are located in the Modules tab, and you are going to be thinking about what 2 cases you might be interested in considering for Project 1. Of those 2 cases, you'll ultimately pick one to write the essay on, but I want to see what kind of things are sparking your interest. As always, if you have any questions, reach out. I'm here to help, and kudos to all those guys who got extra credit last week. Bravo for watching this video and being super rock stars. I will probably embed some extra credit in next week's announcement as well. So stay tuned. Have a great week, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.